Comparing Logitech's Anywhere 2S to the MX Master, we find that both have very similar functions, but in a different form factor. First of all, we find that the scroll wheel here is, first of all, scrollable like this, and then we also find that it has kind of this infinite mode, which we don't find on the MX keys, very unfortunately. Now, what we also find is this, I think, customizable key, which we also find on this device here. Then what we find on the side is basically two buttons, which allow you to go one hierarchy above. If you go the button that is basically out of, I don't know, it is just the top button or the left button. And what this can be used for is if you are an Explorer, in Windows Explorer, and you want to go one folder above, then you can just click this lower button, which we now also find on here, even though it here is kind of hidden in this design. So first of all, we have now here a scroll wheel. You might ask, what is the scroll wheel functionality on the Anywhere 2S? And on the Anywhere 2S, we find that one can click left and right. What this is useful for is if you have a website and then there is a scrolling bar at the bottom, then you can scroll to the left and right without having to click this and then drag it. Now, what we also find is, so we have basically this here, which is the scrolling wheel, but we lack the functionality here to click left and right, maybe because it would be doubling. What we also find is a left and right click on the mouse itself, but this is probably to be expected at this point in time from a mouse. We also find on the bottom of these devices a on and off switch. So this switches the device on and it also switches the device off again. What we also find in both is a micro USB connection, not a USB-C connection, because these are the latest generation of these devices. And so they also come with USB-A on the other side. I don't know if the newer version does sell with USB-C cable on the other portion of the cable, or a USB-C adapter on the other portion of the cable. Now what we also find is basically these three numbers. These three numbers, so this is the Anywhere and this is the MX, are for attaching or connecting the device to three different devices. So you can connect this mouse to three different devices. I have connected it to my notebook, my first phone and my secondary phone, which I use as a camera. And what this allows me to do is, in the past at least, I started, for example, the camera app on my phone, and then with the Anywhere 2S, I would just press record and also stop again, and I was able to do this like this without having to go like this all the time. What we now also find is the functionality to transfer files between at least two computers of the same kind, I think. So there is additional software one can download, and once one downloads the software, I think it then wirelessly, via the internet probably, transfers these files from one device, not from one mouse, but from one computer to the other one. But since I only have one computer, I never have used this feature. There is also customization software, which I mostly downloaded because I had MX keys, so the keyboard from Logitech, also from the MX series in the past, but currently I have found that I don't use it. So these are also Bluetooth devices both, and what this means is that you don't need a USB-A adapter, so this is not a USB-A adapter, but on all the mice you find that there is the USB-A port and then a very short thing that sticks out of this, which then you would plug in, and it would basically create the wireless connection between the mouse as well as the computer. Since I have an HP Spectra, which only has one USB-A port, I needed to find a solution which was basically a Bluetooth mouse, because otherwise I could not connect a USB-A hub, for example, whenever I need to connect a USB-A hub with a USB-A adapter. And so I switched basically to Bluetooth mice out of necessity, and so these were the ones that offered themselves up. So Logitech was kind of a main household brand already a couple of years back when I purchased the first Anywhere 2S, which now is defunct, but I now purchased these two devices again. I bought both of these from Amazon, and so this is what the packaging looks like. And so I also actually already had the 3S of this mouse, but I found that it lacked the scrolling right and left functionality, and so I actually got the old mouse again, which now again has the micro USB port, whereas the older ones do have the USB-C port.